Hello guys, it's your friend Annie here and welcome to this new live. Hopefully it works now. This is my fourth try to make this live and every time that I have tried to go, it didn't work. Now it works, yay! Yay! Hello. Good. Okay, so hi guys, hope you are all doing well. And this support video is all the caffeine quitters who have been falling off the mountain. If you don't know what the falling off the mountain after quitting caffeine means, I guess you're lucky. Just kidding. But it's really a hard experience for many. I was one of those who did fall off the mountain with caffeine really badly, meaning that I did end up in that total nervous system and all chemicals renewing and rewiring journey. And plus that, I was also experiencing the post-acute withdrawals. But in this video, I want to just open up a little bit what that really means if you do fall off the mountain after quitting caffeine, and that there is actually a lot of good things that can come out from that. So that is what I'm gonna speaking you today. And remember, not everyone's gonna fall off the mountain after quitting caffeine. So some people can still have post-acute withdrawals and post-acute withdrawals after quitting caffeine, but their journey can be like more shorter and milder. And then some people who crash really hard, then they can be that they cannot do anything, not work, they are just completely unfunctional. And for those people, I mainly give support here in my channel. Of course, I just share information overall, what kind of drug caffeine is and what it does to our body and how it's affecting our health. But I also support all of those who have this really hard nervous system total reset journey. And then I also here in my channel, I speak about my faith, I speak about Jesus, and I also do other videos that are health related and all kind of things. But we're gonna go straight to the topic. So just a sec, I will open this presentation. Interesting information. So the new balance of the nervous system, a journey from zero to recovery, because it really did feel when I did fall off the mountain that I was completely mess. I couldn't tolerate any stress or any stimulation. And then I was just wondering that, is this gonna be even possible to survive from this, and why some people do fall off the mountain and why some people doesn't fall off the mountain. But anyway, good news. When you recover, you're gonna feel like a new version of yourself. Okay, so we're gonna go forward. Introduction. So many people understand what withdrawal or exhaustion feels like, but a few realize that after long-term overstimulation, for example, from years of heavy caffeine or stimulant use, but now, of course, we're gonna speak about caffeine, what happened to many of us who follow this channel, the nervous system can collapse completely. Completely. Your nervous system can collapse completely. What does it mean? We're gonna learn. And be forced rebuild itself from the ground up. And that is possible. So this process can be described as a total nervous system recalibration. A profound physiological reset where the body gradually, and I say gradually, restores its natural rhythm and finds a new balance. And I know, guys, many of you feel very frustrated now. You feel stuck. You feel like, when this gonna end, when I'm gonna build that new version of you will, but it just takes time for some people. Okay. So what happens when the nervous system collapses? So what does it mean even? So prolonged stimulant use keeps the brain in a constant state of high alert. Think about your brain is constant state of high alert. And some of us that have been happening many years. For me, it was over 30 years since I was very small child. So dopamine, adrenaline, and cortisol surge continuously. Continuously dopamine surge, adrenaline surge, cortisol surge, and all the other neurotransmitters are also affected in this, of course, because they work together. Everything works in together. So eventually the system burns out. Yep, it does burn out. It does happen. And when the stimulants stop, the body temporarily, remember, temporarily loses its ability to tolerate stress. So this can look in the first 6 months that you are not feeling like even that is possible to survive. You cannot tolerate, for example, light, sounds, you cannot watch movies, you cannot concentrate. It can just feel really overwhelming. And then you have all these anxiety symptoms, terror, fear, intrusive thoughts, restlessness, really bad akathisia. And then it usually turns to more like anhedonia, depression, and so on. But you can have all kind of anxiety symptoms and just feeling very terrified, fear, very bad intrusive thoughts all the time, and just over like brain fog, dizziness, disconnection, very much pain. You know all the symptoms because if you have watched my channel, you already know what the symptoms can be. Hi, classic music. I know natural rhythm. My bongo drums. Yes. Welcome. Okay, so but we're gonna learn more. This is interesting. So what happens after burns out? And when the stimulants stop, like I said, the body temporarily loses its ability to tolerate stress, but no worries. This 0 point, so I call it, like we started to call it with Mandy, like falling off the mountain, because it's just, you can call it falling off the mountain, crash, nervous system reset, but it basically means that your nervous system goes like in the 0 point. It can feel very overwhelming because it can feel like when this happens to people, they have been very functional before, and then they go like after that quitting, if that crash happens, they go completely unfunctional like I did. Like you cannot work, you cannot be social with humans normally. You can feel that you have like bipolar in steroids. You can feel that you have ADHD on steroids, but mixed with all like mental illness that you can imagine. And it can just feel really terrified and scared if you don't know why it happens and that there is a way out, and that actually happens to some people. And that is more overwhelming than just going through normal pause when sometimes people ask me, Anni, I'm not sure did I fall off the mountain. Well, I can say that if you did fall off the mountain, you will know that. Because if you didn't fall off the mountain, meaning that you have maybe just like milder withdrawals and post-acute withdrawals, you usually can be functioning, you probably can work or do most of the things. But if you, and that there also can be levels of falling off the mountain. So some people can still fall off the mountain and be able to do more than others. But if you did fall off the mountain, you just really know that, because it can feel like the total like chaos in the brain. Okay, but you're gonna start have windows and waves in this journey too. Like you have windows and waves, like I have been speaking in the post-acute withdrawal journey. You have those feelings when you start to feel a little bit better, and then you can have waves when you feel worse and better and worse and better and worse. And it's not linear, the journey, like we have been learned, but you are healing all the time. So first, what these people and us can experience who had this experience. So even light or sound becomes overstimulating. So in the beginning, you cannot even stand light or sound. It can be just too much stimulation. Sunglasses are then something worth of trying if you are in that state. So even the minor stress can feel just unbearable. Like it can meaning that you cannot leave the house, or you have to maybe just pace all the time, just you cannot really stop because you feel almost like really bad ADHD on steroids. Like you have to move your body constantly and you just feel fearful and terrified. But don't worry, that will pass. I promise you. People usually, when I speak with people, I often hear that they say that I'm the worst case of the worst cases, or I'm the longest long hauler ever, meaning that every people always think that they have the worst of the worst. But even the people that I have speak that, even for me, like I thought that I was a severe case in that sense, that I was a really severe case, but sometimes I have speak with some people and they do heal with time. People do heal with time from this. So you are not the worst case of the worst case, or whatever your mind is now telling you that you have this and that. And your mind can play tricks with you. It can tell that you have brain tumor or you have this unknown disease. Some people can think that they have some kind of unknown disease. If this happened to you when you did quit the substance, caffeine cold turkey, and you didn't experience any of this before, then you know what is falling off the mountain. Okay, but anyway, so the body seems unprotected and hyperreactive. So of course, it's almost when your stress system totally collapses and it have to rewire, you also don't feel safe while you are healing. It can feel that you are just hyperreactive, but at the same time, dopamine is low, so you can feel like wired but tired. That is very uncomfortable feeling. Sometimes you can feel a little bit like overmaniac, and then sometimes it goes like overmaniac, depression. And it's very normal that changes, because also your dopamine system is balancing out, and your stress system, adrenaline, noradrenaline, those stress hormones and cortisol, they're all balancing out with this. All neurotransmitters are balancing out. So underneath this chaos, you feel there's chaos going on, but do you know what? Something essential begins. Reconstruction. I don't know how to spell it. This is pretty cool when you get to the other side and you start to feel that while you are healing. Yes. Good. Nice that you have a good vibes there. Okay, so then the stage of nervous system reconstruction. So remember, I did use AI to help put this together, but this is like very small. I could speak about this falling off the mountain like hours and hours, but nobody wants to put hours and hours of presentation. The main thing is that people know what is going on and they don't have to be scared, and there is really support, and there is really a way out of this, which is time. And then you're gonna feel like better than you have never before. Okay, so this recalibration is not a quick recovery. It's not quick recovery. Being honest, I have to be honest here. I haven't seen anyone who do fall off the mountain hard that they are overnight healed. It takes time, because even normal post-acute withdrawals for many people take time. So who don't have this total collapse. Okay, so it's a long neurophysical rebuilding process. God created us amazing. I have to say that, because neurophysiological rebuilding process. I thank Jesus for this amazing system that we have. Like, I don't even understand all of this, but this unfold in these stages that happens that we can see pretty much. When I have been already helping people few years, I think I started helping people when I was about year 3. And I have been seeing this happening to many people, and there is a certain pattern when people start to recover from this. So these stages are just, a little bit something that you can see. So time frame and what happens, those is acute collapse happens usually between 0 to 6 months. And I have to remind you that some people, when they quit caffeine, the collapse doesn't happen right away. For some people, it takes a few weeks before this collapse happens. Usually it can be 2 weeks, so something happens with those receptors in that time when they really start to do that regulation. But I have speak with people who have also had symptoms started even longer than that 2 weeks. So if you if you are quitting any kind of drugs or caffeine and you have been 1 or 2 week free, that's very short time. Did you fall off the mountain or not? 2 weeks is nothing. Like, wait at least 2 years if you really want to see benefits, if you have been addicted to some things, because like there is a lot of videos in YouTube. I quit caffeine in 2 weeks and I didn't feel anything. Like, okay, for some people, yeah, withdrawals are not so bad or hard or long, but 2 weeks being without any substance is very short time if you have been adapted to that. So just go further and further and further and stay free, stay quit, stay away from all mind-altering drugs. All right, so first 6 months usually the hardest for many. The nervous system shuts down and dopamine regulation fails. So it's usually the phase when you have the terror and the fear and the panic and the anxiety and it's just, you know, in that zombie state where you don't necessarily even have a lot of memories when you heal, because I don't have a lot of memories anymore in that time. I just know that it was a chaos, but I'm lucky. I'm good that I don't have to like think about it anymore. So then the second state, structural repair starts to happen more and more. 6 to 24 months, the brain rebuilds those new connections. A lot of healing happens that time. You can still feel a lot of symptomatic, weird. Your functionality can be on and off. Many people still cannot work at all in that place. It just takes time before the system starts to finally find its new balance. It's recalibrating itself. So the stress tolerance is slowly returning, and there can be a lot of ups and downs, like those windows and waves. So then the third state is reconstruction. So this is usually like this can happen 2 to 4 years. And remember, these timelines can also vary. So don't be shocked about the timelines. Some people maybe heal in shorter time, and others it can even with this total collapse, it can take a longer time. So because there can be genetic differences also. So neuroplasticity expands and the body learns a natural rhythm again. Your body learns to live again without that old stimulation and all that old what it was adapted. And then I'm here. I'm now 5.5 years completely free from all caffeine, and I don't use any other mind-altering substances also. But I'm in that stabilization. What is that, like phase? I think it's really cool phase where I'm now. So it's like you start to find a new balance. It begins to form. So your symptoms are greatly diminish. So you can have maybe some like minor things still, and you can have some minor things, of course. But this is like where I'm headed now, because I'm already over 5.5. So yeah, this is where I'm headed. So I'm headed to 6 years. Next year, April, will be 6 years caffeine free. So this is the nervous system refines to that natural regulation and the emotional stability. And my journey, this has been really, really interesting, fascinating journey, and also very hard, the hardest experience that I have ever in my life experienced. But it turned to best in the end, if that makes sense. So I hope it gives you a lot of motivation to keep going. I know that now you feel stuck and hard, but it doesn't last. It's not. I felt exactly same, that negativity comes with those symptoms. If you used to was a positive person or like an optimistic person, usually people who use a lot of stimulants, they are pretty positive. Have you noticed? But also, have you noticed that there is a downside with that? They can also feel be a lot of like arguing and angry, and it's not really balanced state if you use a lot of stimulants and when you are caffeinated, it's just keeping you in that constant fight or flight state, and your nervous system is constantly like firing, and of course you are poisoning yourself anyway. So then you becoming a new neurophysiological version of yourself. Neurophysiological version of yourself you are becoming. Isn't that's pretty interesting? But that's how your body is able to heal. Same with if you have been addicted to other substances, you are recovering also from those. You are able to recover. Some of you are recovering from the alcohol, caffeine, weed, nicotine, porn. You are able to recover from all of those. All right, so when the nervous system rebuilds itself, a person does not return to who they were before. Sometimes people ask me, how different does it feel? How much better does it feel? That's what everybody wants to hear. Well, completely. It feels completely different and better than while I was on caffeine, because I wasn't like feeling fresh, and I was just stimulated. Almost like, if the fish always have been in the poisoned water, it cannot know that the water is poisoned if the fish always have been in that water. If that makes sense. Okay, but then when the fish get out from that poisoned water, it starts to swim again with the fresh water, and it's like, wow, what is this? All right, so when person heals, they become a new neurophysiological version of themselves, like I said. almost like Limitless, but it's not like in that movie, because overall that was taking a drug. But yeah, it's a good way to describe it, Jesse. So how people then describe this when they recover, and this also is something that I have heard people who have starting to recover. They say that it feels like being a child again, but it also feels like you have to learn to live again, but this time everything feels kind of real. Meaning that if you have been in that stimulated caffeine bubble and all that stimulation, and then you're gonna come outward that bubble, you're gonna see things like much clearer and different, and it's a new experience in so many ways, because also your emotion starts to come out very raw, like you laugh, you can cry. And of course, when you are healing, that also is overwhelming before it's all will be balanced out. That's why it's overwhelming journey. The first part of that is very overwhelming, but the end part of that is very, very much rewarding when you start to feel that, new neurophysiological you. So why this happens? Because the brain and the body no longer operate through overstimulation. That's why. So the dopamine system functions now naturally. It's not that constant stimulating. It works naturally. You get reward feelings from natural things, food, making good connections with people, having good friendships. Maybe you have a loved one, you are interacting with that one. Maybe you find so much pleasure from exercise, natural pleasure, natural feeling of good. Even sitting in the chair can be feeling pretty good after this kind of journey. Even this sitting of the chair and not having symptoms, it's pretty good. It's pretty good, guys. After the journey of being symptomatic. Hi, Lars. Yeah, I'm 6 months in, felt like 6 years, so I'm just about to heal and make a new pathway. This piece lasts until 24 months. Yes, indeed. And you are doing so amazing job, Lars. I know how hard it is, and I know it's like that overwhelming feeling when it can feel that, like I was still a lot of like in my bed just in that time, and just scrolling my phone, and even that scrolling my phone was too much for me, and I just it's almost like I couldn't even decide if I did go to the store. I couldn't decide what to eat, or I couldn't make any decisions because my brain was just so much calibrating. But I promise you, you will get past that. And when you are 1 year free, you already feel much better. You will see that. You will see that it starts to get better and better. So very good work. Very good work. So yeah, the dopamine system really have to heal. And caffeine is really like a very underestimated drug in that sense, that if you really just like, I was like over like 1,000 milligrams a day, and I had no idea what I was doing to my dopamine system because nobody told me that caffeine is a drug, so I had no idea. No, how can you have idea if the mainstream tells you that caffeine is healthy for you and that, yeah, you drink over 5 cups a day and then your Alzheimer gets better and your Parkinson's gets better? Well, yeah, right. You can have, for this drug, you can have Alzheimer, you can have Parkinson, you can have ADD, HCAD, you can have all the things from caffeine also. So that's my opinion. And the Caffeine Blues also speaks a lot about that. So if you are totally new about this caffeine information, please read book Caffeine Blues. And that gives you a good basic information what kind of drug caffeine is. Yes, so next 3 months are crucial to really feel I am improving. Definitely. And you will start to feel that. For me, the first 6 months was like, after that, I started to feel those little windows. But first 6 months was completely, like I felt like I was like a complete mental illness patient. I don't say that I was the most sharpest one while I was on caffeine, but I was totally functional. I was able to work. I was able to work out. I was able to do what I was wanted to do. Like, but then when I did crash bad. Like I couldn't just use my brain. It was hell. Yes, being constantly stimulated is like you're just walking through the emotions, but not really present, like the movie Click. Yes, exactly, Jessie. So then what happens also, these emotions, sensations, and motivation arise. So you're gonna start to feel so much more motivated, even a little things. Even cleaning is so good. You just wanna organize, you wanna clean. All that's gonna come naturally because we are naturally seekers. We naturally want to seek things and do things, and naturally that feels very normal. It feels when you wake up, you just are, what I'm gonna do today? And then you have a plan and you just start to do that. But I remember when I was on caffeine, I have also, now I remember that I have sometimes hard time to make decisions because it wasn't like natural. Sometimes I remember even in the dance class, I had those intrusive thoughts that what if those people are gonna think about me, and it was really hard to kind of not be having those doubting thoughts because I had OCD. That was because of caffeine, and I don't have that OCD anymore. I don't. But yeah, so when you authentically, not from chemical intensity, but from genuine connection to life, so it's not that chemical intensity feeling anymore. So what is then this new balance? How it feels like? Well, first of all, it feels calm. Very calm. It's not that emptiness or like when you are withdrawing or post-acute withdrawing, it's that anhedonia. It's like a steady steady peace. Like it's steady, but it's not like the feeling that you are in bubble and everybody else is just living life and you are just stuck in your home and your head. It's just like you are there. You are there again. Okay, so the joy and motivation comes from small, real things. Small and real things starts to bring you motivation again. You start to have those windows. You start to have first those windows when you cannot taste this. And remember, when you taste this, you know it's not something else. It's not what you're doubting or that you have some long COVID or whatever. It really is this nervous system regulation. So your energy comes so natural. It just flows naturally. You know when to slow down. You naturally know your limits. You are not just constantly going without that feeling of tiredness that caffeine makes, because caffeine blocks adenosine, which move on, but you don't have any more energy. You don't have any more energy when you are caffeinated. Even you don't feel tired. And that is actually not healthy state at all, because then you don't really know what is the true state of your body. It can kind of trick you. It's almost like you take a loan from the bank with 80% of the high. So first year of caffeine addiction can feel really like good, or maybe sometime, maybe even first 20 years or 30 years, who knows, but you have to pay it back someday. And I can tell that you don't maybe want to wait till you are old. Okay, so what the chat says. Yes, I did read those already. So, okay, so you're gonna have so much joy from small things, real things, energy flows, like I said. It's not forced. And the body handles the stress better, but it no longer seeks it. The really interesting thing for me when I was in caffeineism, yes, now my energy like a cat Garfield, yes, was that I was also seeking the stress. I don't know, I guess I was somehow addicted to those stress hormones. I was sometimes felt that I was seeking that argument and seeking to make a mess, but maybe it was something that, because I didn't really know why it was like that, but now I understand it was how I was adapted, how my body was adapted, that I could cope, because in the end of the day it's all about adapting and surviving. So that was just the state that I was adapted. So okay, so it's more than recovery. It is the new balance of the nervous system. So your nervous system will find a new balance. So what we can learn from this process is that the nervous system is extraordinarily resilient, and it can rebuild itself even after total collapse. So even after total crash, your nervous system can rebuild itself with time. So don't worry. And time really is essential in this process. So even it could feel like frustrating to wait, you don't have to go through this only one time on your life. There is a time for this, but then never again. You don't have to go through this second time, because you just don't go back to that stimulation anymore. I promise you won't go back. So the process takes years. To some people, yes, it takes years. But every stage is part of healing. Every state is healing. No matter first 6 months, or are you still like 8 months, you are still healing. It just feels a little bit different of course, in the beginning than when you are at 2 years. And of course, that's how it should, because you don't feel so bad anymore. You improve, and of course the wave can hit. Sometimes it can feel that when the wave hits that you are in the back square one, but it doesn't mean like that. It's just like more rewiring. That's why the healing is not linear. So then the natural living comes, like the movement, just light movement, depending how much stress you can tolerate. I couldn't first year tolerate pretty much any stress. So I couldn't even work out. No. But usually people then slowly start to be able to do more. You start to sleep better. Sleep can be a long time on and off. Nutrition is, of course, something that you can find if that helps you, like when you eat very like good non-processed healthy food, what diet works for you, and you quit all the processed sugar, you can do that because that can just be too much stimulation. I now can handle foods very well, and I can really say that I get dopamine from the food, but I still want to mainly like eat healthy. But sometimes I eat like kebab or fries or things like that, and I can do that. I can do that. It's like, it's not like I'm not like a strict all the time. But in the journey, I had to, because I couldn't just, my system just couldn't tolerate certain foods, and I was just, it wasn't just balanced. So that's normal. So you find what kind of diets works for you, and of course try to avoid anything processed, and always check the labels if you eat some processed food, because they can put also caffeine in some foods. So then letting go of the stimulants doesn't remove strength, it restores it. Even if you would feel like very tired, overwhelmed, you will have your energy back. So conclusion of that, a total nervous system recalibration can feel like a being fresh version of yourself. At first, everything seems raw and unfamiliar, because first it feels like this is not me. I cannot connect to myself. When I did look my old photos, I was like, I don't feel like that. So much DPDR, depersonalization, derealization, which is very common in this. It's an anxiety symptom. But with time, that symptom too will fade, and then you will feel connected, but it's not like the old, it's like the new. And over time, the body and mind rediscover their natural rhythm. So your circadian rhythm also is one that is for many people very messed up in this journey. And for me, it was just like a going with those neurotransmitters and cortisol. Like the weird thing for many is that their cortisol can be actually low when they crash. So it can mean that those stress systems you don't really have the natural effect even you feel stressed, but the stress system really still doesn't work at balance. So that's why you can feel so wired and weird and those heart palpitations and all that. But then the dopamine is low because it's rewiring. So the stress system doesn't give you that natural feeling that stress should give you when they are balanced. But that will balance. Your adrenal glands will also start to work normally. And all those stress hormones. So it's not the end of your old life. It's the beginning of your nervous system's new balance. Yeah, so that's how it goes. So when the nervous system heals, you don't return to who you were. You finally become who you truly are, like the authentic, the natural homeostasis version, like yourself, the balanced version, not that overstimulated version. So that was just this quick presentation to give you the reassurance, and just I always want to keep you motivated, because I know sometimes it can just, it sucks sometimes when you have these symptoms and you would just want to live life, go outside, do something fun, like just go walk and just enjoy the life without those symptoms. I did pray that so much in my journey, that God, just can you take these symptoms away? But it just did go how it did go. I had to go it through, and you're gonna heal no matter what is your timeline. Also, no matter, maybe you didn't fall off the mountain. Okay, then you are managing these symptoms more easy, but you will recovering. You are recovering. So if you have those milder symptoms when you quit caffeine, meaning low energy, low motivation, tiredness, blahness, just, boring, those symptoms will all go away. And then if you did fall off the mountain hard, you're gonna recover also. And I promise you that will happen to you too with time and with patience. If this journey doesn't teach us patience, I don't know what does teach, because it really, like, there is something that you cannot really do except wait. So there's nothing. And I'm impatient. I'm impatient. Even now, I'm waiting that I can move in the new apartment. I can tell that I'm a little bit impatient because I already would want to move. But same time, I know that everything will work out when it's time. So do you have any questions, or do you want to share something about your experience maybe now in the end of this live? Hi, Versadi. I'm not your wife. I'm not gonna be anyone's wife. For sure. Yeah. I'm a loner. Definitely. But nice to see you. How are you doing? Hope all is well there. What are you feeling, guys? Have you feel that my videos have been helping you? Because I'm always really happy that I can make these videos for you, and I'm also happy that I can learn things. And this is so important to learn that we have all kind of unique journey. Even some things would be the same, but like, you are still you, I am still me. So there is no exactly same journey, even if you did fall off the mountain or not, because of course you have your own history, you have your own nervous system history, and that's why it can still look a bit different. But what is common for many is just those beginning stages. Usually it looks very same for everyone who do fall off the mountain, because those stages are pretty hard for everyone. But then when the people go later, some people can start to, for example, work out sooner than others. Some people can start to go to the work sooner than others. But don't compare yourself to the others, because your journey is your journey. So don't start to compare, like, oh, why this person can be doing this and this when they are in that state, because that just can make you feel more down. So don't worry. No, not drinking caffeine. No. No, don't drink. It's better stay off from that. All right, but if nothing questions or anything doesn't come, I will do this same presentation for Finnish. Tämä sama esitelmä tulee myös suomeksi, mutta ei tänään. But so don't worry all my Finnish viewers, älkää huolehtiko suomalaiset seuraajat, teen tämän myös suomeksi. Drink piimä, very good milk. Piimä, yeah, piimä is something that Finnish people drinks a lot, but I don't drink it. I did drink that when I was a kid a lot. Piimä, yeah. Yeah, it's almost like, it's like, it's not milk. I don't even actually know how it's like. It's like a more like fatty. Jääkaapille kaikki. Kyllä nimenomaan. Syömään. But anyway, have a nice evening, guys, and keep it up. Just go strong. You got this, and go forward, and see you in the Discord and next lives. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good one. Mukava